Hello everybody, my name is ProfRich, and today we are talking, not about that. We are talking about verb forms. As you can see, that was the best possible introduction you could hope for. We're talking about verb forms. We are talking about ing. We're talking about infinitive, and we're talking about the infinitive with to. Now, when I first started teaching English in 2008, teaching the different verb forms was something I found very difficult. And when I say verb forms, I don't mean present continuous and present simple. I mean the forms of the verb after other words. So, if you have I want, what form of the verb comes next? Ing, infinitive, infinitive with to. So I found that quite difficult because it just seemed like a memory game. Like you have to remember which verbs go with which type of verb. However, there is a bit more to it than that. So looking at the topic today, we're going to introduce the topic of health. Then we're going to talk about verb forms. What are verb forms? We will discuss the bare infinitive, the ing form, the to infinitive or the infinitive with to, and finally we will discuss my bugbear. We will discuss the thing that I didn't used to like teaching, which is verbs after verbs. And I have some tips to help you with that. So let's get started with our topic. Our topic today is health. So to get you thinking about the topic, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Question number one, how do you rate your health? So question number one, how do you rate your health? Good? Okay? Bad? How about between 1 to 10? How do you rate your health? What do you do that's good for your health? Do you do sports? Do you go running? Do you drink plenty of water? Do you eat healthily? What things do you do that are bad for your health? Do you drink alcohol? Do you smoke? Do you smoke the Bob Marley? Okay. Do you smoke the Bob Marley? What do you do that's good for your health? And what do you do that's bad for your health? Let's hear in the chat. How often do you do sports? Are you someone who does sports 3 times a week? Twice a week? Once a week? Never? How much water do you drink per day? Are you a big water drinker? Do you drink 2 litres? I've got some water right here in a Coca-Cola bottle. And today I've drank about 2 litres already. So dehydrated at the minute. I don't know why I'm dehydrated, but I do feel quite dehydrated. So Takeshi says not a big fan of sports. If you're not a big fan of sports, Takeshi's not a big fan of sports. What do you do to stay fit and healthy? So Manuel says, no smoking, no drinking, no water, no women, no love. So that is our topic for today. Our topic today is health. And that question I asked you about health and sport, that's to get you thinking about the topic, because when you start thinking about the topic, it makes it easier to learn. In English teaching, we call that activating schematic knowledge or pre-activation of schemata. That's the English language term for talking about something before you study it. So let's move on to the different forms. Why are they different forms? Let's have a look at the verb drink water. All right. So have a look at this verb, drink water. So why are they different forms? It's good for your health to drink water. Drinking water is good for your health. You must drink water for your health. I'll say that again. It's good for your health to drink water. Drinking water is good for your health. You must drink water for your health. So here we have our infinitive with to, or to plus infinitive. Let's call it to plus infinitive. Here we've got the ing, and here we've got the infinitive. But why? Why are they different forms? Let's see what you guys think in the chat as I have a taste of my lovely coffee. And today I'm drinking ProfRich brand walnut coffee. You can buy that down at the link below. Actually, you can't. I would love to have my own brand of coffee. Really, really, if there's any coffee people out there right now and you would like to have branded ProfRich brand coffee, let me know. Send me a sample. I'll be all over that. It's got to be good, though. I want good coffee. Anyway, I am drinking walnut coffee. It's so Christmassy right now. Christmassy. That's an adjective. It's so Christmassy right now. I know this is a fake background, but my real background is quite similar, actually. Very, very similar. So it's lovely. It's Christmassy. I've got a walnut coffee with a drop of fruit syrup. That's what I'm drinking today. A walnut coffee with cream and a drop of fruit syrup. So Christmassy. We've got a lovely Christmas wreath on the door as well. It's gorgeous. And the tree. Sorted out the tree. Here in England, we celebrate Christmas with a tree. You can find out about that on the Oxford Online English stream on Saturday. Next Saturday. So there's a few answers in the chat about about what's going on. Manuel says drinking water is a noun. Raquel says in to, the verb is the object, question mark. The subject. It's the subject, Raquel, but it's a noun, yeah. After a modal verb, we use the bare infinitive for number 3, says Anawat, yes. So the point is with this, there are many different reasons why we use these different forms, okay? So we can talk about those reasons, but the point I want to make is there is a wrong reason, right? And the wrong reason is to say that there is a difference in meaning between these forms. Out of context. So, out of context, these things mean the same thing. Drinking water is not like the present continuous. This is what a lot of people think initially. When they say the ing form, they think that means, like a present continuous kind of form. No, that is not the case. So the difference is really a difference of form rather than a difference of meaning or grammatical meaning. So let's move on. We're going to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk about the bare infinitive. The bare infinitive. Bare. The bare infinitive. So here we've got some examples of the bare infinitive, and we've got the reason to use the bare infinitive. You can see that the bare infinitive is just the infinitive, or the infinitive without to. That's the bare infinitive. Some people call this the base form of the verb. So we have lots of examples there in 3 different circumstances of using the bare infinitive. And at the bottom, A, B, C, you have the reasons. And I'd like you to match the examples 1, 2, 3 to the reasons A, B, C. So I'll give you about another minute to finish that off. I want you to match the examples on the right there with the reasons on the left. And if you are enjoying this stream, it's a good time to hit that like button. Really smash that like button. YouTube initially, if lots of people smash the like button at the same time, YouTube will recommend the video to more people while it's live. So if like 5 people hit like at the same time, then YouTube might recommend the video to 10 or 20 more people while we're live. YouTube really values quick interaction. So a load of people smashing like in one time is kind of a good thing for YouTube. As well as watch time. So don't even think about leaving us, folks. I've got loads of good stuff for you today. Stick around and you will see. Oh yes, you will see. Are you ready for some answers? Here come those answers. So pass me the ball. Have a drink of water. Don't offer me cake. They are commands. Commands. You should have a drink of water. I can't run for more than 30 minutes, and we might eat less red meat. That is after modals. After modals. And then finally, I let myself have a cake. You can't make someone quit smoking. And I saw you eat red meat. And that is after some verbs. And in the lesson plan today, I actually called that verbs after verbs. And we will be talking about number 3 later on, because number 3 is quite a special and difficult case. It's really the one which is more about vocabulary rather than grammar. These two, 1 and 2, we can understand from a grammar perspective. But the third one, after some verbs, we can understand that more from a vocabulary perspective, but I do have some tips for you about that. So now that we've looked at the bare infinitive, let's move on and let's have a look at my favourite form of the verb. Yeah, I have to say, I think this is my favourite form of the verb. Isn't it a bit weird to say that this is your favourite form and not another thing? But yes, the ing form, I think, is my favourite form of the verb for the moment. It's a close call. It's got to be ing or the infinitive. I'm not a big fan of the to infinitive, but I do like the ing form. In some circumstances, it is correct to call this the gerund. However, that is not the case in all situations. So I recommend you don't use the term gerund. Just call it ing form. Okay? Saying gerund doesn't make you especially clever compared to someone who says ing form. Okay? Just say ing form. If you really, really want to know, the gerund is when the ing form acts as a noun. So we've got some answers coming in and they look pretty correct to me. I'll just give you another 30 seconds to do that while I end the poll for today and we have a little look at the results. So the results, the poll said, do you get confused by the infinitive and ing? 68% said yes and 31% said no. So that's quite a good indication that this is an interesting topic. All right, so I'll give you the answers for this one. So for number 1, this is, of course, acting as subject or an object. And that is when we could say that this is a gerund for number 1. That is a gerund. You might also say that, in fact, for number 2, because number 2... Oh, it's disappeared. Number 2 is actually after prepositions, which was C. After prepositions. And of course, after a preposition, you use a noun. In fact, prepositions are more or less defined by that purpose. A preposition is a word which usually connects a verb or noun to another noun. So that really is what a preposition is supposed to do. So in fact, also in 2, we could call that the gerund as well. That is the verb acting as a noun. Notice we have the prepositions there. Let's highlight them. The preposition about, the preposition at, and the preposition on. And hey, while we're here, why don't we have a little look at a list of prepositions? So you can see there a whole bunch of prepositions in case you're not sure what prepositions are. They are words like in, on, at, from, to, with, by, about, for, over, under, through, against, before, after, during, within, without, beside, among, around, across, behind, below, above, beside, between, beyond, into, onto, throughout, off, near, of, since, until, up, down, along, and amid. And there are more. So there's plenty of them. The most common ones are in, on, at, from, and to. Maybe about is up there as well. And these words can sometimes be adverbs, depending on the word. So especially words like over, under, after, before. These can also be adverbs. So just because you see the word after, that doesn't mean it's a preposition. It could be an adverb. So going back to our little exercise here, the one remaining is the hiccup scenario, or the strange scenario, which is after some verbs. And that's the same, isn't it? Notice we have this scenario again. We had this scenario before with the bare infinitive, and we have it again with ing, that after some verbs, we use ing. I dislike running. I avoid eating red meat. I don't mind drinking water. Do you see a connection between the meaning of those verbs? We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Sleepwalker asks, does amid mean among? Yeah, basically it does. Yeah. We set the cat amid the pigeons. Set the cat amid the pigeons. Meaning you put a cat in among a group of pigeons. And by the way, everyone, while you are enjoying this stream, this was a great opportunity to smash that like button. I really do appreciate it. You are listening to ProfRich, and we are learning about verb forms. We've just had a look at the bare infinitive and then the ing form. And what do you think comes next, folks? What comes after the bare infinitive and the ing form? That's right. It's my least favourite verb form, which is the to plus infinitive. I don't like the to infinitive. I don't like it. It's weird. Why do we need it? Let's change it for something else. So here we are, the to infinitive. No, it's there to stay. We can't change the to infinitive. It's there. So let's have a look at it. When do we use the to infinitive? We have after some verbs, after adjectives, and giving a reason. So I would like you to match the ABC to the examples 1, 2, 3. And for that, you have about 1 minute. About 1 minute. Another type of gerund. It is difficult being a jarhead. Oh, nice. Danny, that is nice. So that looks to me like a reduced relative clause. So the relative clause would be, it is difficult when you are a jarhead, and you're using a gerund to reduce that relative clause. Oh, it's nice to meet you too. Welcome. Wow, did you get recommended the stream by YouTube? I'm shocked. I am blown away. YouTube recommended my stream. My word. Tell you what, sir, could you smash that like button while you're here? Because I would very much appreciate that. It's always good to reward YouTube when it does the right thing. So here come your answers, folks. Here come your answers. I drink water to be healthy. Here is some water to drink. So here we've got giving a reason. We could also say this is giving a purpose. It's not just a reason, but also a purpose. Giving a purpose or reason. Giving a purpose or reason. Why do you drink water? To be healthy. Here is some water. What's it for? What's it for? Why did you give me this water? To drink. It's to drink. The purpose is to drink. So giving a reason or purpose. And then number 2, we have it's healthy. This is difficult. Smoking is too addictive. And this, of course, is after adjectives. Now, that's not always true. It is actually possible to have a form of a verb after an adjective, which is not 2 plus infinitive. But 99.9% of the time, it is. So it's a good rule. It is a good rule. And finally, number 3, it's our favourite. Verbs after verbs. Want, need, and plan. Want, need, and plan. Verbs after verbs. Wonderful. All right, everybody, do smash that like button, folks. We've got 20 likes, 33 viewers. If you're here, hit that like button. You know, I will love you for it, more or less. Actually, I don't want to say stuff like that. Don't want to be fake about this. I will appreciate it if you smash that like button. I won't love you, okay? Love is reserved for my cats, my fiance, my family, God, and so on. Well, actually, technically, you should love everyone, right? Love thy neighbour, etc. So, hey, and it's Christmas, so you know what? I do. I love everyone, but not because you smashed the like button. I love you anyway. All right, let's move on to the next section. We're going to talk about verbs after verbs. Are you ready for this? Verbs after verbs. It's everybody's least favourite. So, first, I think I need to explain this idea of verbs after verbs. We need to maybe compare some of these a little bit. So let's get a blank page here because I'm not ready for what I planned just yet. So if we take some verbs, we take like I want, we take I hate, and we take, let's do another one. I want, I hate, and I make him, I see him, I see him, I see him, I let, yes. I let people, okay. So we got to drink water, I hate drinking water, and I let people drink water in my house, for example. In fact, we could add in my house to all of them, right? I let people drink water in my house. I hate drinking water in my house, and I want to drink water in my house. So we've got these 3 different forms here, and this is a demonstration of the idea that the form here, drink water, is changing based on the verb entirely. This is based entirely on the verb. So why is drink water in a different form in all of these? And the answer is, it's because of this bad boy. Okay? In each case, it's because of the verb before it. And by the way, you can create a chain of these. So you can say something like, I want to hate letting people drink water in my house. So you can create a chain of these. Language is recursive. That means language can be infinite. It can go forever. So you can say, I want to hate wanting myself. No, I want to hate wanting, letting, hating, wanting, letting, hating people, hating, letting, wanting people drink water in my house. You can just go forever grammatically. That is how languages work. But if you notice there, oops. If you notice there, we can see that we start with want, and then after want, we've got a to infinitive, and then after hate, we've got an ing. And then after the ing, we've got a bare infinitive. So it always depends on the previous verb. Each verb says, I want this to come next, and then you need to give it that. So what is the question here? What is your question? The question is, how do you know what verb form each verb takes? Well, we know with modals, it takes the bare infinitive. What about other verbs? Well, guess what, my lovely ladies and gentlemen? There are some generalizations. Let's talk about them. So first of all, liking and disliking. When you use verbs for liking and disliking, what intelligent people in the chat can tell me what verb form do you use after verbs of liking and disliking? So verbs of liking and disliking are like, love, hate, dislike, enjoy, despise, detest, adore. What verb form do we use after all those verbs? Well, Raquel's there already. Vitilia's called it the gerund. Arguably, this is not the gerund, but it could be. It depends on your perspective. Do you consider this to be a noun, or do you consider it to be a form after a verb? If you wish, you could call it the gerund. I much prefer to call it ing. So the answer is the ing form. So after verbs of liking and disliking, we usually use the ing form. Okay, we're very happy. We like that. We're excited. What's coming next, Rich? Let's take a look. So next we've got beginning and ending. What do I mean? Verbs for beginning and ending. Well, we've got verbs like start, begin, continue, finish, and stop. So we have the same question. What verb form comes after verbs for starting and ending, or beginning and ending, or starting and finishing? What do you think? Yep, so this one is actually ing as well. And there's some suggestion that we can use to infinitive. That is true for some of them, but not all of them. So, for example, finish. You cannot put a to infinitive after finish. Now, some of the others you can put a to infinitive. But does it have the same meaning? Maybe not. Let's talk about that later. So there is a special type of verb when you can use ing or to infinitive. And I want to talk about them because often the meaning changes depending on which type you use. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's move on. We're going to move on to verbs of perception. These are verbs like see, watch, hear, feel, and notice. So what verb form do you think we use with these verbs of perception? Is it the ing? Is it the infinitive? Is it the to infinitive? What do you think? So this one is actually, you have a choice for this one. You really do have a choice for this one. This one, it's the ing, or you have your indirect object and a to infinitive. In fact, it doesn't need to be a someone. It could be a something or someone. So, sorry, not to infinitive. It's just infinitive. See him run. Hear him play. But also, you can use the ing. You can use the ing there as well. So there's quite a few options with this. For example, I hear raining. That's possible. Or I hear running. I hear shouting. I hear shouting. I hear someone shouting. I heard my friend shout. I often hear my neighbours shout. Okay. This one has the interesting circumstance where the ing does sound like it's happening now, whereas the infinitive sounds like in general. Like, I often hear him shout versus I hear him shouting right now. So there might be some idea here that the ing here is actually a reduced clause. Whereas the infinitive is the kind of proper form of the verb to use when you do this someone plus bare infinitive. Okay, let's continue. So we're moving on to mental state. Now, I love mental state verbs. There's loads of them. We've got verbs like wish, want, hope, expect, need, decide, plan, and loads of others. We could call these mental state verbs. And you might notice these verbs are normally not used in ing themselves, right? So you don't normally say I'm wanting. You don't normally say I'm needing, right? But you can say I'm planning, and you can say I'm deciding. But normally, these are actually verbs of state that we don't use in ing form. Now, what form comes after these verbs? That's what we're interested in here. So what form comes after wish, want, hope, expect, need, decide, and plan? The verbs of mental state, we might say there. And do remember, everybody, now is as good a time as any to smash that like button. Contribute to the chat by saying hello, joining the amazing community. You can find a link to our amazing chat community down below. At the end of this stream, I'll be checking the homework submissions, which I've had from everyone today. And today we have a record number of homework submissions. We have the most homework submissions I've ever had. And I'm quite surprised because this homework was from Wednesday's class, and from my perspective, Wednesday's class was rubbish. I really wasn't happy with it. I wasn't in a good mood. I wasn't feeling great. and I didn't give a very good class. And actually, the video is private, or not private, but it's unlisted right now. So I'm actually quite shocked that we got such a large number of homework submissions. So thank you very much for that. It's very encouraging. Yeah, and also confusing. Encouraging and confusing. So what do we use after that? We use the to plus infinitive. The to plus infinitive. That's our form after these verbs of mental state. So I want to go to the park. I hope to go to the park. I expect to go to the park. I wish to have more money. Now, using wish in present simple is quite unusual, honestly. People don't normally use wish like that anymore. Wish is now used as a special form normally, which is I wish I had. So we use it wish plus clause and then in the past. But if you do use wish like want, then in fact to is the correct thing, is the correct way to use it. I wish to have a coffee. Excuse me, sir, I wish to have a coffee. That's actually correct English. All right, so verbs of mental state. Moving on, we've got advice and permission. Everybody loves advice and permission. These are verbs like advise, allow, permit, encourage, and recommend. So what form do you use here after verbs of advice and permission? There are some people who are sitting watching, and I've asked, smash the like button like 20 times now, and we're still on 23. I'm not asking anymore. If you don't want to smash the like button, don't smash it. See if I care. Smash the dislike button. Yeah. Let's go. Right, so advice and permission, advise, allow, permit. We've got all kinds of different things here. People saying all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, in this one, it's to plus infinitive. And often with this, you will actually also have an indirect object. So you're going to be doing a something or someone, permit someone to go, encourage someone to work. I recommend you to go to this place. I advise you to go to this place. I allow you to go to this place. But it is possible to use it without. For example, we advise to study more. We are allowed, in the passive as well, we are allowed to stay here. We are permitted to stay here. We are encouraged to study more. All right, so that's advice and permission. And finally, we're going on to command, verbs of command. There's loads of these, isn't there? Loads of these. So we've got ask, want, need, prefer, order, would like, command, and force. And obviously, with these, we're going to be using someone. It could be a something, but let's say someone. Let's say something as well. Hey, why not? ChatGPT. I need ChatGPT plus, and it's the to infinitive. I order you to go home. I would like you to go home. I command you to go home. I ask you to go home. I asked him to go home. I want him to go home. I forced him to go home. I forced him to hit that like button. I asked him to smash that like button. I said, MBTD, hello to Myanmar. How's it going, buddy? How are you doing? How do you say hello in Myanmar? Danny says, actually, the word want takes the infinitive to, but there is a structure available, don't want object gerund. For instance, I don't want no one seeing me like this. I don't want anyone seeing me like this. That's very interesting, Danny. I don't want anyone seeing like this. I want someone. Yeah, it's just in the negative, isn't it? I don't want anyone. Because you can also say I don't want anyone seeing me like this. By the way, I don't like the no one there, where you said I don't want no one seeing me. That's very colloquial. Anyone is the correct form there. But that is interesting. I'm very happy that you notice forms like that, because being a good language learner is about noticing the exceptions and just going, it's an exception. It's all right. We can deal with it. We can deal with it because we are vocabulary focused, not grammar focused. And that's why you're awesome. All right. Are you ready? It's the special case verbs. Now, this is where Teacher Rich gets everything wrong. Okay. This is where I'll probably get everything wrong. So we did also say things like start and stop can also be in there, but these are not so special, because with start and stop, the meaning is more or less the same. But with these ones, it's different. And so we need to really talk about that. Oh, my big head's in the way. Hang on. All right. So we need to talk about that, because there is a difference with some of these. So let's get some examples in context. We're going to be comparing ing versus the to infinitive. So for remember, can someone give me an example using the gerund related to health? Remember, our topic today is health. Why have a topic? Why have a context? Because all language should be learned in context. The context today is health. We're talking about health. I'm having a healthy walnut coffee with fruit syrup. How about you? Are you having a healthy walnut coffee with fruit syrup? I am. Can someone give me an example with remember, ing, and on the topic of health? She was starting, remembering, forgetting, doing yoga. Thank you, Anouat. You've just earned yourself 27 years of detention and extra homework for the rest of your life. But to be serious, thank you. So she was remembering, forgetting, doing yoga. Oh, no, I hate it. I hate it. Let's just say remember doing yoga. We'll say remember doing yoga. Okay, so. We use it in the past. And we'll compare I remember doing yoga versus I remembered to do yoga. So, what's the difference? We got A and we got B, and there is a difference in meaning. So what's the difference between A and B? I remembered doing yoga. I remembered to do yoga. I could put this in another form if you wanted as well. How about I have remembered doing yoga. And I have remembered to do yoga. A and B, what's the difference? Let's see what you guys say in the chat. Julia says B is in the present time. Not quite sure what that means. Zoya says A is remember the act of doing, and B is I didn't forget to do. I like that. I like that. I like that. Thank you. That is lovely, lovely, lovely. Just give me one moment. I'm going to do something clever. Actually, it's probably not that clever, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, it's not that clever, is it? Oh, maybe it is. It's cleverer than I thought. Right, yes. Yoga. Remember to do yoga. Yeah. So what did you say? It's not forgetting. I didn't forget. Yeah. It's good, that. I like it. That is exactly what it is. I didn't forget. Another way to say this is I reminded myself to start the activity. Okay. I didn't forget to do the activity. That's the key part, isn't it? That I did it. I have remembered to do yoga means I did yoga. Whereas I have remembered doing yoga means I recalled the memory. So I experienced the memory in my head. So I had an experience in my head of the memory. This is the act of remembering itself. Reliving. We could also call it reliving. I relived my yoga experience in my head. Okay. I relived my yoga experience in my head. I like that. That I come up with myself. That's right, folks. So that's with remember. That's the difference with remember. Let's try another one. Oh, I didn't expect that to happen. We should do try. Can someone give me an example using try related to the subject of... relating to the subject of health. So give me an example with try, you related to the subject of health. So it's very interesting what you put there, MBTD. You said, I remembered what I was doing. So you've actually used the relative clause using what. And by doing so, you've introduced a different form. I tried to stop drinking alcohol. Great. Okay. We'll keep the forms consistent. So we're going to say I tried drinking alcohol. And I tried to drink alcohol. Oh, wait. It was supposed to be to stop, wasn't it? Let's say quitting. So the difference with try is more subtle. It's not as extreme as with remember, but there is a difference. There is a difference. Does anyone know what the difference is between A and B? So with A, it means I quit it. I had the experience of quitting it. Now, that doesn't mean that you continue to quit. Because it's possible that you quit it and then you started it again. But it does mean that you did quit. Whereas with this one, I tried to quit means I may not have succeeded in quitting at all. So I may have failed to quit at all, as in I didn't quit ever. I just tried to quit and kept drinking. That is possible. That is possible with the second one. Let's have another example here to try and make this a bit clearer, because it's not super clear, is it, right now? So we'll try and do another one. And we'll use a different example. No, we'll use... This is a really good example, because here we've got a definite difference in meaning. So I tried opening the window means I opened the window. And probably I did that in order to solve some other problem. Now, did it solve that problem? I don't know. But I did open the window. That is a fact. So I tried opening the window means I opened the window. And I was trying that to solve a problem. Now, the next one, I tried to open the window, means I attempted opening the window, or I attempted to open the window, but didn't necessarily succeed. So this second one, this B, it doesn't tell me that I succeeded. So this could actually mean I failed to open the window. When I say I tried to open the window, it's not necessarily the case. Like, I tried to open the window and then finally I opened it. I mean, it's possible, but it indicates that you didn't succeed. So it indicates failure. When we use to plus infinitive with try. I tried to pass the exam. It indicates that you failed. And this is really the kind of try that Yoda in Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back, when he says, do or do not, there is no try, he is in fact talking about B. Okay, let's move on then. We should move on to forget. Once again, could you give me an example using forget with the context of health? We're talking about health, and now I would like an example with forget. It's quite useful, forget. Forget is quite similar to remember, actually, in this way. So I forgot bung and I forgot bum bum bum. What do you think? I forgot locking the door. I forgot to close the door. Okay, let's have that then. That's not related to health, but okay. Yeah, so we've got, I forgot closing the door, which means I no longer have the memory of closing the door. So actually this one, in fact, means I did close the door, but I do not have a memory of doing it. Whereas B, I forgot to close the door, means I did not close the door. That's it. Thank you, Pavia. That's a much better example, but too late, unfortunately, but thank you. Forget taking and forget to take your vitamins. Yeah. Because, in fact, I do forget. In fact, I'm going to write that example because it's so good. It's super real. I like real examples. Authenticity is king. Don't forget it. For learning languages, authenticity is so important. I forgot taking my vitamins. I forgot to take my vitamins. So we know what these mean. I just told you. With A, I forgot taking my vitamins means I forgot the memory. So I forgot taking my vitamins. We could add something to this. We could say, I forgot taking my vitamins. So I took them again. And, you know, my friend reminded me, and I realized I had taken them twice. Right. It's like, I forgot taking my vitamins. I forgot taking my vitamins this morning, so I took them again. This happens to me. It's happened to me at least 3 times that I've took my vitamins twice. 3 times that I'm sure of. It probably happens more. But yeah, I forgot taking my vitamins, so I took them again. And B, I forgot to take my vitamins. I didn't take them. I'm annoyed with myself for not taking my vitamins. Just like that. Just like that, folks. Just like that. Smash that like button. We're on 24 likes and we've got like 300 people watching. Hello. All right. What else we got? There was like one more, wasn't there? Stop. Oh, stop. Oh, we should talk about stop, actually, because stop is actually an important one. So let's talk about stop. Can someone give me an example of using not Pavia? Can someone other than Pavia give me an example? Oh, I didn't show you that. There's my vitamins example, everybody. Hi. Yeah, I forgot taking my vitamins, so I took them again. I forgot to take my vitamins. I didn't take them. The example for that is now on the screen, on the whiteboard. Open your notebooks and copy that down. That will be on the test. Okay, moving on. So, stop. Give me an example using stop. I stopped smoking. I stopped smoking. We're going to use the past. I stopped smoking. That's actually a really good example. Yeah, I stopped smoking. I stopped to smoke. What's the difference in meaning, folks? What is the difference in meaning, folks? By the way, folks, F-O-L-K-S. It's the British version of guys. Hey, guys. Hey, folks. So we got folks, UK. Here's guys, US. It's colloquial, though. It is colloquial, not formal. So, yes, I stopped smoking means I gave up smoking. This is the same as saying I quit smoking. This is the same as saying I no longer smoke. Or it could also be I finished the action of smoking. Whereas B, I stopped to smoke, means I stopped doing something in order to smoke. So, for example, I stopped talking so that I could smoke. So this actually has the meaning of to for purpose. Remember, we talked about using to plus infinitive for purpose or reason. And that's what that is. It's to plus infinitive for purpose or reason. So there's quite a big difference with that one, isn't there? And Pavia gives a good explanation there. She says, I stopped to smoke suggests that you interrupted whatever you were doing to engage in the act of smoking. The emphasis is on taking a break or pausing to smoke. That's perfect. Thank you. You are enshrined for all eternity on the notes for today's stream, Pavia. Well done. All right, folks. Well, that was all of our input for today. It would be great, wouldn't it, to have some practice? But you know what? You know what I didn't do? I didn't make any practice. So that was clever, wasn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you some practice now on the spot. I'm going to make some practice right now. And as I make this practice right now, I'd like you to answer in the chat. I want you to put the correct form of the verb. That is the task. Put the correct form of the verb. So I'll give you sentences, and I want you to choose ing, bare infinitive, or to plus infinitive. If you ever wanted to see what preparing a practice activity looks like, you're about to see it. Oh, no, that's why I can't do that. Okay, great. You're about to see it right now. Okay, let's go. Number one. So the verb in brackets, I want you to put in the correct form. It's probably going to be people who do it before I even finish with that one sentence. Put the verb in brackets into the correct form, ing or infinitive or to plus infinitive. Just going to get rid of that. Bum, 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 bum. Great. All right, so you got 1 to 10, folks. 1 to 10. I'd like you to choose the correct form of the verb. 1 to 10. Choose the correct form of the verb in brackets. That's 1 to 10. Choose the correct form of the verb in brackets. For some reason, number 10 isn't appearing, which is kind of worrying me a little bit. Bit weird. Choose the correct form of the verb in brackets, folks. Choose the correct form of the verb in brackets. And in 1 minute, I'll give you some answers. 1 minute. Oh, wow. It's a cracking stream today, isn't it? I tell you, I was worried after Wednesday. It was a bit wet, but today it just feels boom, we're right on it, and everyone's loving it, and you're getting some great English here. So super happy about that. Thank you very much. Smash that like button if you agree, and if you disagree, smash that dislike button. And if you've got something to say it in the chat. And if you've got something to say afterwards, comment in the comments. I always read the comments. I read every single comment. Every single comment on the channel I read. And anything interesting I reply to. So if I don't reply to your comment, that means it was too boring. So make it more interesting. Smash all the buttons. Smash all the buttons. All right, we're ready for some answers. Let's have some answers. Let's have some answers. Boom, answers. Right, so first one, bare infinitive. Next one, quitting. It's after a preposition. Next one, smoking. Next one, to eat. Next one, to drink. Next one, ing. Next one. What is this? I've put it in the past already. I saw that the stream chat, yeah, shouldn't be in the past. What should this be? This is something totally different, isn't it? Because it would actually be, because I said that there. Okay, that's a bad example. Let's change it. I saw the chat understand. Mamma mia. I saw the chat freak out. There you go. There's a better example. I'm going to go back and change that. Just in case anyone looks at the notes afterwards. I saw the chat freak out. Yeah, just got to say that. Yeah, I saw the chat freak out. Better example. That's what happens when you write the exercises during the class. By the way, I'm terrible at preparing exercises. I always do it during the class in real life. I can't stand preparing exercises as preparation. It's just, it drives me crazy. I need you to study. Get rid of those brackets or parentheses. I tried doing yoga. And number 10, I tried to do yoga. I hope that makes sense, that one. So I tried to do yoga, but it was too difficult. I could not do it. I tried doing yoga. I could do it. And it was, I experienced it, but it was boring. So notice the difference there. With one, can't do it. With the other, can do it. Okay. So there you go, folks. That is our content for the day. I hope that's been very helpful. We're now moving on to the homework for today. So here's the homework for today. Please do join our amazing community. You can join our amazing community. The link is in the chat right now. That's free to join, and it's a wonderful community and chat server where you can talk to people, and it's brilliant. Can you say you should try to eat fish? Yes. And you can say you should try eating fish. So you should try eating fish is like try it and see if it helps. And you should try to eat fish means you should try it and see if you can do it. MBTD English, thank you very much for that comment. That is a lovely comment. I do appreciate that. Thank you. That is really, I can't take the credit. That just comes from 15 years of teaching English. So, here's the homework for today. Choose a verb form. Choose a verb form use we talked about today. A verb form use. So, infinitive, bare infinitive, infinitive with to, ing. Make an example and discuss it. You could talk about remember, try, stop, whatever you want. Record a 2-minute summary. Do not write a script. Thank you today, by the way, for Pallavi, who submitted homework, did not write a script, and isn't here probably because she's embarrassed about it or whatever. But it's really good. And well done, Pallavi. Fantastic work. It's not using a script is much more fun. I don't care if you make mistakes, right? Life is about making mistakes. I've made 3 mistakes on stream now, today. Did you see them? I made 3 mistakes. And each time I was like, ugh, mistake. And I corrected it. Nobody said anything. So people make mistakes. You make mistakes when you communicate. That's life. You can't be perfect. I've said this before. Teachers are not gods, and you are not a god. All right? You just do your best. Yes, we want to be as perfect as possible, but we must accept that language itself is an art. Language itself is an art. Shakespeare invented 5,000 words, and like 4,000 of them we still use today. He just invented them. He just made them up. But he made them up in a clever way so that people could understand what he said, right? Like, for example, if I said, you know, my favorite thing about Prof Rich's stream is the Prof Richness. I just love that Prof Richness. Do you like Prof Richness? Oh, he's Prof Riching again. He's Prof Riching. Now, Prof Rich is not a verb, and it's Prof Richness is not a noun, but you can understand what I mean. So if I wrote a really successful play like Romeo and Juliet, then I might include Prof Richness. Juliet saw Romeo for the first time, and his Prof Richness was just so wonderful. You can understand what I mean. All right, so that's the homework, folks. Moving on, we got question time, and we got the notes from today. So here's the notes from today. Bong. You can download those right now. Feel free to go to that link in the chat to get the notes from today's class. I think the notes from today's class are pretty good. They're a good reference, so check it out. You can get those notes from that link. It's just a shared Google document. And it is the Google document that I am editing right now. So go there and check that out. Does anyone have any questions? If you have any questions about English, about life, or about the stream today, then type your questions in the chat and I will do my best to help you. It's question time, folks. It's question time. Honestly, I'm tempted to heat up my... You know what? If you have a question, type it in the chat. I'm going to heat up my coffee and I will be back in 1 minute. So I'll be back in 1 minute. And we're back. And let's have a look, see what questions we have. So the questions are, is it important to study grammar rules to speak English fluently? Brilliant. That is brilliant. That has to be one of my favourite questions. Love it. Thank you, MBTD English. So, it is obvious that you are new here because you don't know my perspective on this. My perspective, first of all, is the important thing with learning English is to do the things that you like. Do the things that you like. That's how you learn English well. If you enjoy studying grammar, then fantastic. Is it important? See, the fact that you've said important is interesting as well, because a lot of people say necessary. Is it necessary? But you're clever. You've said important. I am going to say no, but I realise that I'm being a little extreme when I say that. So I'm going to say no. It's not important. I'm going to say no, it's not critically important. But I'm going to say, however, it can be helpful. And if you like grammar, it can be very helpful. So the point here is, if you don't like grammar, you don't need to study it. And grammar is certainly not as useful as lots of people think it is, especially for fluency. Because actually, the relationship between fluency and grammar is quite weak. There are lots of things that are more related to fluency rather than grammar, right? For example, connected speech, natural pronunciation. That's much more important for fluency. If we have a look at the things that are important for fluency, for example, what things do we need in order to have fluency in English? Well, we need phrasal vocabulary, that's for sure. If you're using word-to-word grammar, you will not have good fluency in English. That's absolutely true. Your brain cannot work fast enough for you to consider every single word and connect them together. That's not how spoken fluency works. Let's make this clear that it's spoken fluency we're talking about. So you need good phrasal vocabulary. What's phrasal vocabulary? I'm gonna plus infinitive. What are you gonna plus infinitive as a question? That's phrasal vocabulary. So it's that you know that as a singular chunk. I'm gonna. What are you gonna? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? Where are you gonna go? I'm gonna study English. I'm gonna watch the stream. I'm gonna play video games. Right? It's a single chunk of phrasal vocabulary. That's fluency. Okay, so phrasal vocabulary you need. What else do you need? You need good connected speech pronunciation. And sentence stress, we'll call that as well. Pronunciation. So connected speech, sentence stress, pronunciation. Let's have a look at an example of that. So, first of all, do you want a cup of coffee? That's bad fluency. I was using individual word pronunciation. How about this? Do you want a cup of coffee? 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 All right, so a bit of connected speech, pronunciation, and sentence stress. What else do we need for spoken fluency? Is that it? Oh, you also need fluency-based practice. Fluency-based practice. That means practice a lot the skill of speaking with a focus on fluency, not accuracy. So I'm not saying that accuracy is not important. Obviously, accuracy is important. But what I'm saying is that when you practice fluency, when you practice speaking fluency, your focus is on fluency, not accuracy. And your focus is on comprehension. Comprehension is the test for your fluency. So you speak as fast as you can while checking that your interlocutor understands you. The interlocutor is the other person, interlocutor. So you check your interlocutor understands you and then speak as fast as you can. If you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. The bar is, do they understand you? If they understand you and you make a mistake, we're not concerned about that for fluency-based practice. With fluency-based practice, all we care about is that the other person understands you and you can speak continuously and fluidly. That's fluency-based practice, okay? So you improve fluency with fluency-based practice. That's it. Grammar's not there. You could argue, by the way, that this is grammar. You could argue that that's grammar. For me, it is grammar, but I think a lot of people consider that vocabulary instead of grammar. So I'm not gonna call it grammar, but in my head, that's grammar. That's really what grammar should be. But here. All right, let's see what other questions we've got in the chat. I hope that helped you, sir. Thank you, Teacher Rich. I'm not a grammarian. Yeah, I am a grammarian, actually. I am a grammarian, but I'm a weird grammarian because I'm a grammarian who favors other things. So I am a grammarian, but I'm a grammarian who realizes that for learning to speak English fluently, the grammarian's perspective is not necessarily the best perspective. Without knowledge of grammar rules, it would be difficult to build correct sentence structures. What I would say there, Sleepwalker, is I would say, what do you mean by knowledge of grammar rules? I think there's an important thing to say about knowledge of grammar rules, right? Let's think about this, right? Imagine Lionel Messi, right? Now, imagine that Lionel Messi couldn't read. Actually, he can read, but let's imagine a different Lionel Messi, right? Well, imagine a Lionel Messi that can't read. So we have a Lionel Messi and he can't read. Okay? So he can't read the books about how to play football. Now, you might say, well, okay, does that mean that he has knowledge of how to play football or not? And the obvious answer to me is that yes, he has knowledge of how to play football, even if he can't read, even if no one ever tells him anything about football, he still has knowledge of how to play football. How does he learn? Well, he practices and he watches other people doing stuff. So he watches the other players and then he practices and he tries things and he sees when he tries stuff, does it work? When he kicks the ball, does it go where he wants? When he passes to his teammate, does that work? Do they score a goal, right? So for me, this is like learning a language. And there's this idea of, are you learning explicit grammar or implicit grammar? So is grammar something that you see the language and you try to copy it and use it and test if it works? Or are you reading a book with rules in it? Now, I think both those things can be useful because actually, if you are a football player, reading about football can help you. It can help. Studying with a book about football, how to be a better player, it can help, really. And that's the same with speaking a language. If you want to study grammar rules, they can help. They do help. They do. But do you need it? I say horses for courses. If you want it, have it. If you don't want it, don't have it. You will learn the language either way. You will. And possibly you can speak the language very well without knowing any grammar. And it is possible to know all the grammar in English, but your speaking is not very good. That is possible. So the extremes are possible. I've seen it. But hey, let's take a holistic approach. Holistic means we're going to attack from many different angles. We're going to do lots of different things to learn English. So let's learn grammar, right? And let's do a class when we learn loads of grammar, and then let's do another class where we just forget about grammar and we don't learn any grammar and we do something else. Let's do everything. That's what I believe in, right? Let's do all different things and try all different things. And by trying all these different things, we stay motivated and interested, and we get everything. And there's something for everyone. All right. I don't like grammar, but I love learning grammar. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. Anwar, I'm very similar to you on that. If you had to describe your teaching style using a literary genre, would it be a tragedy, comedy, or adventure novel? Rich, I want to hear your take on this as a teacher. Oh my God, what is this nonsense? Look, Pavia, lay off the Bob Marley, hey? I'm just joking, Pavia. I'm just joking. It's okay. It's a fun question. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be so cynical. I take it back and I apologize. It's a lovely question. Let's have a look. If you had to describe your teaching using a literary genre, oh God. It feels like a tragedy by answering this question. It's quite tough, actually. It's definitely not classic, and I like classic literature. It's definitely not that. It might be something like modern mystery, something like that, because mystery is about getting people intrigued to read more. And I often see my job as a teacher is to get students intrigued to learn more. So it might be something like modern mystery, but modern mystery with a bit of historical drama and a bit of science fiction, because I like to look to the past and talk about the classic ways of doing things, and I like to look to the future and use cutting-edge teaching as well. So modern mystery with a bit of historical drama and a touch of science fiction. There you go. I hope you're happy. If you appreciate that answer, you can buy me a coffee. The link's down below. It's Christmas and I've got no money. So if you want to buy me a coffee, hey, I won't say no. I won't say no. I'm e-begging. Begging folks. What has life come to? No, it's just if you have some money and you feel appreciative, feel free to buy me a coffee. Do not feel under any obligation. The streams are free and the streams will always be free. I love educating. It's the one job that I could do for longer than 3 years, and now I've been doing it for 15 years. Education's my life. So, hey, enjoy, folks, enjoy. All right, moving on. Usually you don't like learning something you hate, says Zoya. Yes, I totally agree, Zoya. That's a wonderful comment. The more you know, the less confident you become. Is it because you know what is correct and you don't want to make mistakes? Takeshi, that's wonderful. Yeah, so every time I hear a comment like this, because it's very common for students to make this kind of comment. Every time I hear a comment like this, I think of the Bruce Lee quote, right? So the Bruce Lee quote is something like, before I learned the art, a punch was just a punch. So before you learn the art, kung fu, a punch is a punch. You punch, but you know how to punch, right? If there's a fly, bzzz, you're like, you know how to do this, right? Fly, right? You know, right? But then, after I learned the art, a punch was no longer a punch, said Bruce Lee. A punch was why is a punch no longer a punch after you learn? Well, because when you learn the art, right, you go to learn and your teacher says, oh, your shoulders are too high. Drop your shoulders, right? Oh, your hands are too close to your body. Move your hands out from your body. Oh, your hips are too solid. Like swing your hips a bit. And so when you punch, right, after you learn the art, you start kind of doing this sort of stuff, right? You're like, boom, 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 boom. Suddenly this you're moving around. It's like this weird dance. And you're like, what the hell's going on? Like what, when I need to punch, now I need to like do this weird dance as well. Dum, 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 right? and that's what happens after you learn the art. And you go through this stage where you feel awkward, you know? It's like you come up to a target, you have your target you're going to punch. And before you had teaching, you could just punch the target. But now you come up to the target and you have to like get into position and kind of get ready, you know, and then you go, and you punch the target and you go, oh, no, that wasn't right. I lifted my arm and I twisted my, no. I'll try again. And then you go and you, right? And it's like everything becomes so awkward because you know so much about it, right? But here's the key. Because the Bruce Lee quote continues. There's a third part. And the third part is, now that I understand the art, I know a punch is just a punch. So there's the quote. That's a quote from Bruce Lee. We can take out the kick part. You just need the punch bit. Gets the idea. Now, does this mean that you shouldn't learn the art? No, not necessarily. What it means is you can be a good fighter without learning the art, and you can be a really good fighter after learning the art, right? But it does mean that you will go through a phase of feeling awkward. You learn the grammar rules, realize you're making lots of mistakes, and you feel awkward. And what you will realize when you get through that is the mistakes don't matter that much. Communication is just communication. All right? Communication is just communication. Oh, but I need a subject and a predicate, and the predicate needs to contain a verb, and the verb needs a subordinate clause. The subordinate clause needs a subject and an object and an indirect. Communication is just communication. We are learning here to communicate. That's what I do. I'm a communication teacher. I'm teaching you to communicate in English. That's it. So how do we communicate? There's loads of ways. You don't even need to speak to communicate, by the way. But we can communicate more effectively by speaking. So let's learn about speaking, right? Communication is just communication. That's my Bruce Lee analogy. What else we got? Rich, did you have a lesson on conditional sentences ages ago? And I would like to do another one, so maybe I will. Yeah, maybe we should do another lesson on conditionals. I'll put, if you join our Discord server, that's bit.ly/englearnchat, I'll put a vote on there for a lesson on the conditionals. We could do it. Alexander says, what is the literal meaning of you're out of your element? Is that a movie quote? I didn't realise that came from a movie. You're out of your element. element just means this isn't your specialist area. This is outside of your expertise. This is outside of your area of command. This is not your place, right? Yeah, you're great on the piano, but this is a guitar issue. You're out of your element. That's what it means. Zoya says, but I love grammar. It's great. It's okay. Hint says, my brother has fluency in English speaking just from movies and games, but doesn't know a thing about grammar. Nice. Good for your brother, Hint. Good for him. He probably started learning when he was young, I imagine, if he learnt it from movies and games. It is part of the input hypothesis by Stephen Krashen, especially for young people. They just need to exposure to the language, comprehensible input, and they will learn. For adults, we need a bit more. How can your teaching style be a tragedy, not good for a teacher? I can think of some tragedy elements of a teaching style. Anawat says, I think his pedagogical style is like Christopher Nolan. I love Christopher Nolan, Anawat, so I will take that as a compliment. Pavia says, can you answer one more question? I can. Where is your question? Manuel says, keep the eye contact. It's tough, Manuel, because I need to look all over the place. But I will try to keep eye contact as much as possible with my electronic eye, the camera, forever stirring as I stare back into the abyss. Is it one of these things that if you look, it's like if you look into the abyss looks back. It's like if you look into the internet, then the internet looks back into you. Philosophy, folks, we're getting there. Daydream says hello, and I say, hello, Daydream, smash that like button. Danny says, can you explain, let's have a look. Can you explain this structure? Causative verb plus have plus object plus ing. For example, I have Alex watching my car. Can you explain this structure? Causative verb, have plus object plus ing. I have Alex washing my car. I have Alex wash my car. That's nice. Excuse me. Yeah, it's pretty easy, actually. I have plus ing means I have a situation where ing is happening. And so we can throw the person in there as well. And the other one, I have plus someone plus infinitive means I make or pay someone to do something. Right? So I have my stream go, or I have ProfRich teaching me. Means I have that situation, and ProfRich is teaching me, and I have ProfRich teach me. Means I pay him to teach me. And remember with this one as well, you don't actually need the object. You could just say, I have shouting in the street right now. Just means you have that situation. You have the situation of shouting in the street. MBTD says, could you tell us a little about the RP accent? Yes, I can. I can, of course, tell you about the RP accent. RP, my accent has evolved quite a bit over the last 15 years. And obviously, teaching for quite some time, you do start to neutralize your accent. And I have, actually. So my accent is much more RP than it was in the past. Much more RP than it was in the past. And there's a few... If you want to sound RP, there are a few things that you may learn. So let me just bring up the old phonemic chart and let's have a little chat about that. I do have a phonemic chart somewhere, by the way. Just give me a moment. Ta-da! There it is. Right. So, key parts of the chart, if you want RP. How do I draw on this? I don't know how you're drawing. It doesn't really work in Google Docs to draw. But anyway, key parts of the chart for RP. So first of all, this sound here in RP, right? This sound here, it's kind of like, can I do it? Hang on. Cat, yeah, You need to get it right back, right? Because otherwise you sound American. Now, it's true that if you listen to old recordings of Churchill and stuff from the 40s, they said it more like like ket. But it's changed now, and RP now is right back. Cat, right? So, that will differentiate you from the Americans, and that's the RP, right? Right at the back, Other sounds, we've got o and or. These are very RP sounds. O, not, lot, forgot, and or. I thought it was a good idea. Then this sound here is very important for RP. Must, because there are accents in England which don't use this sound, and they are non-RP accents. Like my native accent from the north, we don't use that sound. So instead of must in the north, we say must, right? Must. Oh, but if you want to sound RP, then you want must, but, and things like that. Also, where some people will use for things like bath, right, and laugh. In RP, we use this sound, so we say bath and laugh, right? That sounds more RP. So there's some words where people will use like laugh and bath, but in RP, it's bath. Right. Then we've got the diphthongs. So the diphthongs are very important for RP. Very, very important. Very important for RP. Okay, let's have a look at some of those. Ear. So there's your RP. Here. Here. Ear. Then you've got A. I say. A. Oh, sorry, that's, where was that? That's this one. A. Say. Stay. Another important one is ow. Now. And of course this. This is probably the most RP diphthong in the phonemic chart. It's air. The chair. Where is the chair? I say, old boy. Do you have a chair? Where is the chair? Where are you going, old boy? Oh. Yeah, that's important as well. Oh. I'm going home. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, I'm proud to meet you. Oh. Right, that's the RP, okay? Home. I'm going home, old boy. I'm going home now. I say, old boy. Tally-ho. Tally-ho, chaps, tally-ho. Shall we have a cup of tea? How about a cup of tea before we go home? Tally-ho, chaps, tally-ho. All right. Yeah, so there's a bit of RP for you. Inscriptions. These are phonemics, Daydream. They're phonemics. I do recommend learning phonemics. They're fun. I think they're fun. These are all the sounds in English represented on one chart. There's not that many. Not that many sounds in English. Do you want to go through them? E, I, O, U. E, O. A, R, O. So that's all the vowel sounds. And then diphthongs. Ear, A, U, Oi, O, E, I, Ow. There's the diphthongs. And then we have P, B, T, D, Ch, J, K, G, F, V, Th, V, S, Z, Sh, J, M, N, Ng, H, L, R, R, Y. That's it. That's it. If you can say them, you can say every sound in English. I know what says American English tends to pronounce vowels at the front and British English tends to go way to the back of the throat. That's true. That is true. Especially with O, or, and A. They are further back. So we use the back of the tongue more. All right, folks. I do believe that is it for questions. Oh, wait. Pavia's got one more. If Shakespeare were alive today, do you think he'd be a fan of texting or stick to quill and parchment? That, I have no idea. I have no idea. Because the thing is, I think Shakespeare was quite forward-thinking for his time. So it is possible that he would like technology. Although we might be inclined to say, no, he's going to be traditional. That's not necessarily true. Just because we think he's traditional from now, that actually he was quite a progressive guy. I mean, he invented 5,000 words. You have to be a pretty progressive guy to do that. If you're a traditionalist, you don't invent 5,000 words, right? So, yeah, maybe if Shakespeare were alive today, he'd be like a rabid memester making internet memes. Maybe he'd have an Instagram and a TikTok. Oh God, I hope not. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have that. He would not have that. So I take it back. But he might like texting. All right, folks. All right. Homework assignment. You ready for this? We're going to have. We are on track for the longest stream I've ever done on the channel. Because today's been pretty, I have to say, we've had a really good response today. I'm super happy about it. It's good to have a good comeback after Wednesday's kind of wasn't so happy about that. So, good stream today. This is the homework. This was the homework from last week. And we're going to go through it. So, it was to investigate one of the English legends and talk about it. So let's get into it. We've got quite a few to listen to, so I best get started. And I didn't rename the files, so we'll just go into it and see what happens. We'll start with Zanawat.
Hey folks, today I'm gonna talk about one of the English legends that fascinated me, Glastonbury Abbey. So first of all, let's get into the nitty-gritty of Glastonbury Abbey, which some of you might have known before. It was a monastery or church that was founded in the 7th century, but is also linked to the Holy Grail. According to folklore, Joseph of Arimathea, the great uncle of Jesus, arrived here, bringing the Holy Grail and establishing Glastonbury as a sacred site. Legend suggests that it was here in Glastonbury that Excalibur was thrown into the lake after King Arthur fell at the Battle of Camlan in the early 6th century. The Lady of the Lake's hand emerged from the water to receive this sacred and magic sword to guard it safely for Britain's future. Furthermore, this abbey was supposedly the tombs of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere that were found in 1191, and King Arthur is meant to rise again when Britain next needs him. So, after I did some research about legends in England, I can tell you something. When it comes to anything in England, or really the UK, everyone assumes that they have something tying themselves to King Arthur. It's a very common thread woven into the cultural fabric of this country. So, what are your thoughts on this? Sir Richard the Whisker of Feline Berry and YouTubester. Haha.
All right, thank you very much, Anawat. It was very interesting. Some excellent vocabulary. And nice to talk about one of the legends which I somewhat neglected in the stream because, to be honest, I had no idea what it was. So, Glastonbury Abbey, thank you very much for doing a bit of research on that. I just noticed with this, there was something with the sound here. This should be unvoiced assume. Your pronunciation was like assume. It's not that. Assume. That's all. Thank you very much. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Zanowat. Didn't get anything from Daisy today, so I won't be listening to her. Let's see who we get next. Like I say, I didn't name them, so I actually don't know.
Yours is an Anglo-Saxon poem.
Okay, wait a moment. I think we know who this is. I'm going to just turn up the volume.
Yours is an Anglo-Saxon poem. The setting of the poem is Denmark and Sweden. The poem begins with the Hrothgar, the king of Danes, and he is very worried and depressed because a monster is attacking his mead hall named Harrod, who lives in the bottom of the sea. He kept attacking on the people every night in the Harrod hall. They suffer this for 12 years. A very brave young man named Beowulf came to the lands of Danes to defeat the horrible creature and save the people of Danes. He successfully kills the Grendel. His mother is seeking revenge of his son's death. She kills one of Hrothgar's advisors, and Beowulf again goes to kill her. He kills her by a giant magical sword. Then he returns to his country, he returns to the Danes, and so the people that he kills the monsters, and his wife celebrates Beowulf's victory as he kills the both monsters and his country. And after that, Hygelac and his son dies, so he becomes the king of Geats for 50 years. He rules the kingdom of Geats for 50 years peacefully, but one day a thief stole a cup from a dragon's treasure. The dragon begins unleashing fire upon the Geats. has to fight with the dragon. He went with his soldiers and fight with the dragon. The dragon bites his neck and he dies because of venom. The Wiglaf successfully kills the dragon. Beowulf made Wiglaf the kingdom of Geats, him the king of Geats, and he discriminates his dead body according to his wishes.
Thank you, Pallavi. That was absolutely wonderful. That's exactly it. That's it. That's the homework. How she did it is how you do it. That's how you do it. That's what I want, folks. No script. I know the recording stopped and started sometimes. That's okay. You can do that. You can stop it. You can start it. You can edit the audio if you want. But no script. Just talk. Excellent. Well done, Pallavi. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Giant magical sword. We don't say the w sword. Venom, successfully do. Something for you, which, see, this is why it's interesting to hear you speak without a script, because then we can notice possible improvement. So here's something for you that you said and, which indicates you need to integrate some more ways of saying and when you're talking. You know, like, and after that, and then, the next thing that happened was, that's a good way of saying and, isn't it? He got the sword. The next thing that happened was, he went to fight Grendel. Fantastic. Thank you, Pallavi. I'm super happy. No homework for the rest of your life. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our next victim. Next student.
Let me dive into the topic of Robin Hood. Robin Hood is a legendary English folk hero known for robbing from the rich to the poor. Historically, the tale of Robin Hood has been passed down from generations to generations through ballads, stories, and plays, making it challenging to separate fact and fiction. On top of that, nobody has able to prove that he existed, and earlier literacy reference to him from the late 14th century, and so do his birthplace and time of availability with different sources suggesting different locations and dates. Nevertheless, his certain character traits and themes have become synonymous with the legendary outlaw. In the traditional stories, Robin Hood depicted as an outlaw living in Sherwood Forest with his band of merry men, a diverse group of activists, each with their unique skills and background, united by a common cause. He is often portrayed as a skilled archer, a master tactic, and a charismatic leader. His sense of justice and compassion for the downtrodden define his character. Robin Hood is portrayed as an often defender of the oppressed, thus parallel to the modern times where social justice and income inequalities are hot button issues. Furthermore, Maid Marianne, traditionally depicted as Robin Hood's love interest, has evolved from a passive damsel to a more independent and capable character in the modern interpretations. This reflects changing society views on gender roles and empowerment of women. The core themes of Robin Hood's days, such as resistance against tyranny, the pursuit of justice, championing the underprivileged, resonates across centuries. In a contemporary context, the legend of Robin Hood remains relevant as a symbol of society resilient against inequalities and a call for fairness in the face of exploitation. At the end of the day, There are misconceptions in the modern times. What is your take, my fellow peers? He is a man of the people or distracted thief.
Nice, a man of the people. Fantastic, lovely phrase there. There was something a bit stagnated about this phrase at the start, Julia. It's quite hard to understand how you said that. Let me delve into the topic of. It's like that intonation again can be a little bit difficult. But the rest of your explanation was very clear. Let me delve into the topic of. Yeah, maybe it was intonation even. Hi everyone. Let me maybe start with hi everyone to help you get into it. Hi everyone. Let me delve into the topic of. Boom. Perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, it was lovely in general. Thank you, Julia. Some great vocabulary there for everyone to have a think about. If you like any of the phrases that Julia used today, make a note of those phrases, have a think about them. Maybe you can use those phrases in the future. Let's move on. We've got loads. Still got another 5 to do.
Alright guys, buckle up for the tale of the brown lady of Rainham Hall.
Buckle up.
So, it's like a classic ghost story with a touch of English spookiness. So, picture this old mansion, Rainham Hall, with its creaky floors and centuries of history. Now, Lady Dorothy Walpole, the brown lady herself, enters the scene. So rumor has it she faced some serious 17th century drama, maybe even a bit of locked up in a tower kind of stuff. Who knows? But here's where it gets juicy. In the 1930s, someone snaps a photo claiming to catch the brown lady in all her ghostly glory on the staircase. You have got this ethereal figure draped in brown, and it's been haunting imaginations ever since. Whether it's the spooky photo or the tales of bums in the night, Rainham Hall has become a hotspot for ghost hunters and anyone up for the spooky story. The brown lady keeps the mystery alive, making Rainham Hall a must visit for those craving a good old-fashioned ghostly chill.
Was it a good old-fashioned what? Ghostly tale, was it? Good old-fashioned ghostly tale? Bump in the night, yeah. I think we missed the when you said that. It sounded like bombs in the night. It could be all kinds of stuff. Yeah, bumps in the night. Actually, the expression normally is things that go bump. Things that go bump in the night. Bump. Things that go bump in the night. Yeah, Pavia just blows us away. I didn't know anything about that you were talking about either. So, yeah, totally you. Do you like ghost stories, Pavia? Is that your thing?
Alfred, being the youngest of the king's 5 sons, had little reason to think he would ever become king. As a part of the royal family, however, he immersed himself in the military training and sports of the time: hunts, horse races, foot races, archery, wrestling, sword fighting, and spear throwing. This training provided much needed preparation for the over 50 hand-to-hand battles that he would soon fight against the greatest warriors of his age. Alfred grew up learning the art of war and statecraft from his study of history and scripture. His father died when Alfred was only 9 years old. At 16 years of age, the young Alfred was made the military commander of the army of Wessex. In the next few years, the Viking consolidated their tyranny over all the kingdoms of Britain except for Wessex. In 869, Alfred married the love of his life, Elswith, and they settled into his estate at Chippenham. But within a few months, a huge Viking army sailed up the river Thames and attacked Wessex. They captured Reading threatening to end Christian civilization in the British Isles. Here, Alfred fought the first of his hand-to-hand battles with the unrelenting pagan pirates. Alfred was crowned King of Wessex. In the spring of 871, he was the last remaining king in all of Britain. He organized the first standing army in English history. He constructed a fleet of his own of ships that were larger than the Danish ones and made from a unique design that did not follow the surrounding navies. Alfred believed that law and order was very important for his people. He established a code of laws based on Old Testament and on laws used by other Anglo-Saxon leaders. He liked to keep an eye on judgments that were being made to check that his people were being treated fairly. Alfred was a keen reader and writer and believed education should play a large part of his kingdom. He translated Latin text into Old English and encouraged other scholars and teachers to do the same. He wanted his people to be able to read text in their own language as well as in traditional Latin.
Very good. Wonderful, Vladimir. I just see constant improvements in your submissions. Absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to comment about the phrases. They're really good. I expect you... I mean, I know you are reading from a script because you send me the script. So you might want to try doing it without a script. Or you write... No, sorry, you write it afterwards, don't you? You've told me this before. I take it back. Sorry. If you're not, then, I mean, it's amazing. Because the language is actually incredible. Really incredible language. I just had one little thing about this. So it's Christian. Christian. Yes, we say Jesus Christ, but we say Christian for our religion. Okay, great. Next. Almost there.
I've chosen King Arthur's legend. It is dating back to the 5th and 6th centuries. According to the legend, King Arthur was born in North Cornwall. He reigned in Camelot, the capital of the kingdom. His court was made up of several knights that are known as the Knights of the Round Table. We can find King Arthur stories in French literature by Chrétien de Troyes from 12th century, and in English literature. La Morte d'Arthur by Thomas Malory was published in 1485. One of the most famous stories about King Arthur is the quest for the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is a cup from which Jesus drank at the Last Supper. King Arthur didn't find the Holy Grail himself. His knight Sir Galahad found it because of his purity of heart. We met King Arthur, his knights Sir Lancelot, Sir Galahad, Queen Guinevere, and others knights in some movies. We admire their courage, nobility, and beauty. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful, really nice explanation of King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table. It did just stick with me, actually, that we talked before about the Thomas Malory Le Morte d'Arthur, and you mentioned that, Elena, in your text. And I just reminded, in university, I was going to read Thomas Malory's Morte d'Arthur, and I did, and it was a horrible mistake. But I remember someone recommended a book to me, and I've never read it. and the book was A Once and Future King by T.H. White, is it? And that I haven't read, but I think that this is the preferred modern version of the story. So if someone's looking for some reading material, Pavia, then maybe check that out. Once and Future King by is it T.H. White? Is that the guy's name? Yeah. Yeah, so check that out. Let me know if it's any good and maybe I'll read it. Lovely, Eleanor. Thank you very much for that. It was absolutely fantastic. And we got two more.
Morning, everyone. Today, roll up for a magical mystery tour through the British legend. Well, I'm going to read four of them, and then you can think it's true or false. Well, the first one is San Coloma. San Colomba. This is a priest which was born nearly the 525 from Ireland. Then, because
Who's that, Manuel?
Read
Can you
several
type it?
parts of the
Say
Holy
what?
Right, and the Catholic Church don't let she flee with 12 apostles to a scholar. Okay, there they found a famous lock's nest. And then it's told that in there, in this lock, was a monster who lived in the monster. Why? Why the monster? Because the soul became a white flyer whore. It came into the lake and transformed into the monster. Is it the monster of the lake, the top's nest, or a monster, the lake nest? True or false? The second one is Arthur. The Arthur and the knight, the round table. This is funny because one day was Arthur. Nobody know was wrong. It's pretty much the 517 and became she's descended from the Celtic, no Roman, the Celtic. Well, one day was run out and she could look a stone, sword, sorry. And so it was buried in the land. So no, in the rocks. So at a moment, there's was writing, whoever pulls this word from the stone is the true king of England. So she pulled out, and then like a butter, like a butter which is nice hot, immediately she take. So he became king, and she named 12 knights, and they live in the castle called Camelot. And she married with Ginevra from France, and the knight is like a sheriff in all around the England. Right. True or false? Yes. Another one is robbing.
Right, I'm going to stop you there, Manuel, because you're way over time. But here's some comments based on the things that you said here. So we also had the same mistake that Pavia had as well. Or was it Pavia? No, Plavi. Sorry. Plavia made this mistake, I think. Sword is how we say it. Sword. Yeah. So if you say sword, it sounds like you're saying swore incorrectly. Swore, which is the past of swear, which means say a bad word. So it's sword, or no W, sword. The sword, a big sword. Sword. A sword, sir. A sword. If you want to remember it, if you want to remember how to say sword, just remember knight. It's knight. It's not knight, it's knight. So what does a knight have? It has a sword, whereas a knight has a sword. But we don't have knights because that's wrong English. So a knight has a sword. Knight and a sword. Swordy knight. He married with... you don't marry with in English. You just marry. He married some girl. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Manuel. Here we go. Anthony, last but not least.
Hi there, everyone. Anthony here, and tonight I'm so thrilled to share with you about a cliche but classic story of a Sherwood thief turned hero, Robin Hood. It's been believed that at his time, the rich paid no taxes. But in irony, the governed herd. Tonight, I'm so thrilled to share with you about a cliche but classic story of a Sherwood thief turned hero, Robin Hood. It's been believed that at his time, the rich paid no taxes. But
what did you say about turned hero? Turned hero.
Of a Sherwood thief turned hero.
Thief turned
Robin
hero.
Hood. It's been believed that at his time, the rich paid no taxes. But in irony, the government foisted the tax-paying duty on the villagers instead. The collected tax was used exclusively to benefit the wealthy. In other words, we can say that the poor had been legally robbed by the rich and powerful. So Robin Hood and his squad, merrymen.
We can say that they had been, or we can say that they are. I'm not making a grammar correction. I'm just making a political statement about taxes. Dun dun dun.
I believe, had been fed up with, this charade. So they stood up for themselves and those in need. Well, we can say every villager in the village. Since the laws were wrongfully abused, there was no point in following them. Then the team formed up and fought against the government, especially the sheriff of Nottingham, whatever, yeah.
This is Anthony. I don't know if Anthony is in the chat, but he hangs around on the Discord server.
But, they fought an eye for an eye, but his team, I mean Robin Hood, they used wit against weapons.
Ooh.
But, yeah, sadly, many people had been killed. But you know what?
Well, not sadly, because actually the story's not true, I don't think. But yeah.
To be frank, I'm not very sure about the end of the story, because there actually are several versions of the tale.
That's right, there are.
But what do we know about this story? Spoiler alert, he died at the end. Some said he died out of someone betrayed him. Some said he died because of illness. Some said he died out of just his illness. Well, at the end he died. That's the conclusion. But what do we know about the story? It's more than a story, because his story has inspired those who fight against the unequal system, trying to make the world a better place in this world. And I think he's kind of an iconic role model of those fighters.
Interesting. Yeah, that was really nice, Anthony. You got some great vocabulary there. Really, really, really nice stuff. Just wondering, because obviously we know who the king was in the Robin Hood stories. It's often King John. King John. And he came after King Richard I, Richard the Lionheart. Richard the Lionheart had gone to the Crusades. Now, I'm not really sure if there's any truth to King John in particular having anything to do with the people who were Robin Hood. The people who were Robin Hood likely to be just criminals in the forest. Basically, just random criminals in the forest. But maybe people liked the criminals in the forest, you know, because as Anthony alluded to in his speech, you know, the king was just taking money off people. Why? Because he's the king. That's it. You know? So that's really what taxes were. So it was, yeah, it was a form of kind of robbing people. I can't really find any quick information about this right now. But if you've seen the kind of Disney version of Robin Hood, then you know that King Richard I returns from the crusade and sort of comes back heroically and at the end. But that didn't happen in real life. King Richard died in the Crusades and John was proclaimed king. So in real life, that definitely didn't happen. But of course, King John did die eventually, and King Henry II came in. So all kinds going on. And also, as in this period, I think we're talking about going into the 100-Year War. So things are about to get very complicated for England and France. I don't know how that really relates to anything. Anyway, wonderful. Thank you very much, Anthony. And that is all of our homework for today. Have any questions sprung up? Final questions. Have any questions sprung up for anyone while we've been listening to that? We're about to go into our longest stream ever, so I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes just to take us into a record-breaking stream. That's right, folks. We're going into a record-breaking stream, and we're going to get there in about 10 minutes. So we've got 10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes of stuff here. What's with the number of likes, says Pavia. What do you mean? What's the problem with the number of likes, Pavia? Do you got a problem? Pachu says, sir, any recommendations for movies and TV series? Oh, yes. I could talk about this for 10 minutes. Yeah, I got loads of recommendations. Key thing about TV series that you should watch. The most important thing, to choose something you like or are interested in while being able to follow without subtitles. So that doesn't mean you need to understand every single word, but you need to be able to follow it. Okay, so that is the first thing to say. All right, so let's talk a little bit about my recommendations. As I've said, it's important that these are genres that you like. But if these are genres that you like, then, okay. So first of all, we've got Reacher. Season 2 just came out. It's a cheesy action. Absolutely love it. If you like brutal action, if you like big, muscly guys doing big, muscly guy things, then this is good fun for you. Season 2 just came out on... What's it on? I think it's on Amazon Prime Video. So, highly recommend Reacher. Really good fun. Really, really good fun. No modern political intrusion. This is just classic awesomeness. So check that out. I have to, once again, recommend The Last Kingdom. The Last Kingdom is just phenomenal story of the history of England. It's about Alfred the Great. historical action drama. That one's on Netflix. So check that out. It's really good. Just remember what I said. You need to be interested and you need to be able to follow it without subtitles. If you can't follow it without subtitles, then you need something easier. Because if you use subtitles, that means you're practicing vocabulary and reading. You're not practicing listening. So if you want to practice listening, then you need to be able to understand it without subtitles. Pavia, that is one of the most peculiar questions I've ever had. If King Richard the Lionheart had a rap battle with other medieval monarchs, what do you think his stage name would be? R1. R1, back again. Yeah, back again. R1 in the house. The Lionheart here. Okay. Wait. I'm getting distracted. Need to go back to this. So, The Last Kingdom, historical action drama. Moving on. You cannot go wrong with Altered Carbon. The only problem with Altered Carbon is that it was cancelled after 2 seasons, which is horrible because it is amazing sci-fi. It's quite adult. Do not watch with children. But Altered Carbon is just phenomenal. It's a story about how people transfer their consciousness between bodies rather than dying. So much fun. So cool. It's got a detective story. Brilliant. If you would like to watch something which has finished and is a really cool sci-fi, then check out The Expanse. That's finished now and that is super cool. I can't recommend that enough. That's a great TV show. So check that one out. I highly recommend For All Mankind. And I think season 4 has just come out and I haven't seen it yet. So, highly recommend For All Mankind. This is kind of interesting because it's a historical drama / sci-fi. So, or alt, I think they call it alt history. So, basically, we imagine that the Russians won the space race. And because the Russians won the space race doesn't end. They keep going. So they keep developing new things. They keep pushing further. And it's so interesting. It just shows how that competition can be used to push our technology and our society forward. So really love For All Mankind. It's a bit weird to try and find it, though. You need Apple TV for that one. Or you need to get in touch with your good friend Captain Jack Sparrow, because you cannot get that elsewhere, in the UK anyway. But I highly recommend that. For All Mankind's really good. Really good. What else we got? I mean, I should probably mention this. I know, it's a bit cliche, but I like it. I like Rick and Morty. I gotta admit, I think it's good fun. It's a comedy adult cartoon. It's a parody of Back to the Future. And I think it's great fun. You probably will need subtitles for this unless your English level is very, very high. So whatever happens, you'll probably need subtitles because it's really complex. But it's really good fun. And I highly recommend it just for the entertainment value. So yeah, that's final recommendation of the day. So check it out. Check it out. I know what says, Rich, why are footballers in Europe fluent in languages easily, even when they just move to another country, like from Spain to England? Because there's a few reasons for that, Anawat. First of all, they're not fluent. It takes a while. And you notice that. Like, they avoid press conferences for the first few months. But secondly, they have very expensive private teachers. And if you get a very expensive teacher, like me, then it helps. Right? So there's definitely that part of it, Anawat. It's the tuition. They keep them out of the public eye for a while. And the other thing is to be a really, really good footballer, and this is going to be very controversial, what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. To be a world-class footballer, you need to have a high IQ. You do. To be a world-class footballer, to be a world-class anything, you need to have a high IQ. You cannot be world-class at anything without having a high IQ. Unless you're the only person in the world doing it. Because you need to be able to learn quicker than other people. That's how you get to those really high stages of absolute mastery. And that means that people who are world-class at whatever, if you're a world-class footballer, you will learn quicker than most people. And so, yeah, if you've got someone like Lionel Messi and he moves to England, he'll learn English quicker than most people because he's a really smart guy. Even if he's not intelligent smart, not book smart, he is a naturally quick learner. You have to be a naturally quick learner to be world class at something. So there's that as well. But yeah, they obviously get very expensive tuition. That helps. It's just like another question we can talk about with this, Anawat, is like, how do Hollywood actors like lose weight or get muscly so easily? Well, because they have a very expensive team of trainers and professionals around them helping them. Money gets you stuff. How do you find slow horses? Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah. I've heard about this, but I haven't seen it, and I love Gary Oldman. So thank you for reminding me about that. I'll check it out. Thank you, Alexander. I'm a big fan of Gary Oldman. He's amazing. I think, people like Gary Oldman, Alan Rickman, like these are like just awesome 90s actors. You know, they were massive in the 90s, and I think they deserve a lot of respect. I really like Gary Oldman's portrayal of Winston Churchill. Pachu says, sir, do you know any free streaming websites? Oh, yes, free streaming websites. Yeah, I know. And sorry, there was some interruption on the line. I can't recommend free streaming websites, Patrick. I'm sorry. Also, if you're in another country, it wouldn't matter because they would, of course, be different. I am a subscriber to Netflix and Amazon Prime. I also have access to Paramount Plus. I can't really recommend Paramount Plus. I think it's a bit... But Netflix is pretty good, you know. Amazon Prime Video is okay. Actually, I don't subscribe to Amazon Prime for Amazon Prime Video. I just happen to have Amazon Prime Video because I have Amazon Prime. But as for free streaming stuff, I've heard that there are such things out there, but I can't help you with it. Maybe if you join our wonderful Discord server, bit.ly/englearnchat, someone can help you with that. I'm not saying they can. I don't know anything about that. And of course, don't do anything against YouTube terms of service or the terms of service on our Discord, which means no illegal stuff. bit.ly/England chat for all of your Jack Sparrow needs. Not really. Not really. It's for English learning, not for talking about Jack Sparrow. Yeah, thank you very much, Anawat. I don't know about Chapeo. What's that? What about learning English through movies? Did I not mention any movies? Was that all TV series? Rick and Morty, For All Mankind, The Expanse, Altered Carbon. Oh my God. They are. The problem with... You know what? There's loads of good movies. The problem is, if you want to find new good movies... Oh, for future class. Takeshi, the problem is, I did something like that. You can check it out. I did a class where we watched clips of films and we got copyright strike. Well, not strike, but we got copyright hit. And it meant that the whole stream was kind of a waste of time, even though I thought it was a really good stream. I really liked it. So we can't do it because of that. It's annoying because it was really fun. If you look at the streams, it's still there. I could probably find it now and post a link actually. But it was fun to do. But then it got sort of demonetized, and the problem is that if that happens on YouTube, learning British English through film, it wasn't even that long ago when we did it. The problem is, on YouTube, if you get demonetized, they actually de-rank you as well. So the poor video, not only does it get demonetized, which doesn't really matter, but it actually gets recommended less as well. But you can check it out. Learn British English through film. It's good fun. And no ads. or if there are ads, I don't get anything for it, but I hardly get anything anyway. Not all great sportsmen learn a language quicker. It should be supported by their friends, relatives, daily conversations, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's true, Alexander, because there are other factors other than how quick you learn. How quick you learn is just a generalization, that in general, a world-class anything will in general be a quicker learner. So I was going by averages. But obviously, we have to take into account culture shock and support network and domain-specific expertise. So if you happen to be someone who already speaks 2 languages, then obviously you will find it easier to learn a third. If you're someone who hated learning languages your whole life, well, you're probably not going to find it that easy to learn, even if you have all kinds of coaches and specialists and whatever. So, yeah, you're right. Also, maybe they just hired the wrong teacher. You can sometimes hire an expensive teacher who sucks. It's kind of like, Alexander, if we think you have a really good football player and then he goes to another club and suddenly he can't play football. Nothing to do with language. It's just that now, whatever, it doesn't work for him anymore. So it could just be that. You know, life's complicated. But in general, on average, if you're world class, you will be a quick learner. And therefore, you will see that lots of sports people learn languages quicker. They also have the money. They got the money, they got the expertise, and they're probably a quick learner. But hey, things can still go wrong for them as well. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me so long. We're now coming up to 2 hours and 40 minutes, which, of course, makes this the longest ProfRich live stream that we've ever had. I am going to finish up right now. I could go on for 3 hours, but No, I don't think so. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, tell all your friends that this is where rock and roll English learning happens, and this is where we give you the best suggestions for how to learn, what to learn, and how to improve your communication and English language skills. I hope that you are all set up to have a rocking weekend. Get out there and kick some ass. All right, have a good one, folks. It's been my pleasure. My name has been ProfRich, and today we've talked about verb forms. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely week, and I will see you maybe not on Wednesday. Maybe not on Wednesday. We're kind of in Christmas time, so my time is super limited. So I don't know about Wednesday, but watch this space. Go on the Discord and find out. You'll see. But I will see you on Saturday. And second to last Oxford Online English stream on Saturday as well. Second to last one. Thank you very much, folks. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Catch you later.